Hello everybody and welcome to the third episode of the series where I teach you how to build a redstone computer. Last time I talked to you about binary and how it is the language of the computer. Well, it's time to do something about it, don't you think? Don't you think? So, this episode I'll talk about logic gates. Today you will learn three things. First, what are logic gates? Second, what are the different kinds of logic gates? And third, how to use logic gates. First, what are logic gates? Well, logic gates basically take an input, two inputs, three inputs. One is a minimum, but you can go into infinity. But the most common one is 2. So 2 bits as input, and it creates an output. Now, what is that output? That output depends first of all on the input, the two different or 3 or 1 or 4, whatever, and the different inputs. Is it a 1 or a 0? But second, what is the kind of logic gate? What logic gate are we talking about? So that's also important. Now, logic gates, you will use them a lot in Western computers, but also in general computers in real life. Logic gates are like the second step. In real life, you have like transistors, that's the first step, and they're the second step. So the second most detailed component of a computer. You use them all the time. They're the fundamental of a lot of things. But what you use them for, I'll cover that in a minute. Now, you have different kinds of logic gates. There are 4 basic ones, and you have a lot of versions of these, but I'll cover just the 4 basics. First of all, you have the NOT gate. This is the only gate with any use in a Western computer that only has one input, and it just inverts the signal. So if you have 0, like we have here, the output will be a 1. If your input is 1, then your output will be a 0. So how to build it? Very easy. Just make use of a redstone torch. If you know something about redstone, you will know that the torch inverts the signal. So that's what we need to have here. So just use a redstone torch. This can be in very different ways, like this is also possible. You can make it without the redstone torch, but you will barely use that. Just as the most common way to build one of these. You can do it with a piston, but that's not really that practical. Oh yeah, a tip immediately for the whole thing. Try to first use redstone dust, torches and repeaters. They're the least buggy, sorry. Then go to pistons. If torches, redstone dust and repeaters can solve your problems, go to pistons. And as last, go to droppers and hoppers and dispenser and the whole other things. Observers are also in the first category. So what you can use in the beginning. Why? Because things like droppers and hoppers are very buggy, while torches, redstone repeaters, redstone dust and observers are way less buggy. And in a whole computer, in a big computer, the most little problem can cause a lot of problems. So something you need to be worried about. Now, here is what I set up is a truth table. So what this basically shows is you have here the 2 input lines, and I can show you here easily what will be the output. Now for this one, because we only have one input, we just need to look at these 2 because these combinations aren't possible. Now, like I said before, if your input is a 0, your output will be a 1, and if your input is a 1, your output will be a 0. So like I showed you here. Very easy. Next, the AND gate. The AND gate is also a really fundamental logic gate. This one has 2 inputs, and what it does, it only turns on the light if both inputs are on. So now it's off, one input on, still off, the other input on, still off, the 2 inputs on, and it's on. So now, how do you build it? There are a lot of ways actually to build it. I'm sorry, that was Discord. I'll mind it in a minute. First, you convert the 2 lines. Convert the 2 lines with a redstone torch. So 2 NOT gates actually. Now, what will happen with this line is it will only go off if both these are on, because if this one is off, the redstone torch will be lit and it will power this line. Same the other way around. If neither are on, both redstone torches will power it. But if they are both on, there won't be any redstone torches to power it. Now invert that signal again, and you have your output. So that's how you make an AND gate. There are a lot of ways to make AND gates. You can also use pistons, observers. It is the most versatile of all the logic gates. So the truth table, very easy. Like I said, only if both inputs are on. So 0 and 0, nope. 0 and 1, this one isn't on. 1 and 0, this one isn't on. 1 and 1, yes sir. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can make this bigger if you want. Of course, if you have 3 inputs, that's also possible. Then all these need to be on, because if you only have this, now you have 0, 1 and 1, so that needs to be off. Now you have 1, 1, 1, so they're all on, and this can be a 1. Third one, OR. OR is also very easy. What this one does, it turns the light on if either one are on. So none of them are on, so this so the output is off. This one is on, so now there is one on, so the light has to be on. The other one is on, and both are also okay. Very easy to make in redstone, just combine the 2 lines. But a big note, I mean a small note, but it's quite important. If for example you have a piston over here that is doing something, I don't know, that is powered by this one, and you need to make an OR gate, make sure to put a repeater before the piston and where the 2 lines get combined, because otherwise, if you don't, it will destroy that. But yeah, now it doesn't do anything. But you see, it will extend the piston, although you don't want it to. You don't only want it to extend when this line is on. But even if this one is off, and this one is on, it will still extend. But if you put a repeater here, so it's one way, that won't happen. So that's also important. Truth table, very easy as well. 0, 0, none of them are on, so it's 0. Here's this one is on, okay. This one is on, okay, and they are both on, so that's also okay. Last one, and this one is a little bit more complicated, the exclusive OR XOR. What this one does, it is basically OR, but with the difference that if both inputs are on, the output needs to be off. So like you see here, they're both off, so the output is off. One of them is on, so the output is on. Works either way, but the moment both are on, it turns off. So the circuit to make this one is quite complicated, and I'll be honest, I can't explain how it works. I didn't design this myself, so actually didn't for the end, but at least I can understand how that works. This one I can't. It's just really messy, and I'll just take a clean screenshot if you want to. Of course, there are more ways to make an XOR gate, but they're all very complicated. It's the most complicated logic gate of these four, actually of all of them. So I could only find one where it's one tile, and that's what was with droppers and hoppers, and like I said, that's a no-go. So, truth table, last time, 0 and 0, nope, none of them are on. 0 and 1, okay, there is one on, but the other one is off, so fair enough. Same for this one. But here, they're both on, so nope. This one needs to stay off. One last thing, you can all, like I said, these are just the four basics. But the only big thing that you'll actually use is to put NOT gates at the end of at the beginning. So for example, with this one, this is not a NOT gate, this is a NAND gate with an N in front. So what this does, it will invert the output actually at the end. So for example, I mean, it was like this, so you needed to invert it, so by de-inverting it, it works too, but you can also but you can also do that, of course. You can also invert them in the front. It also works. There is not an official name for that, as far as I'm aware, but you can do it as well. And there's one thing I want to show you before we get to the last point, and that is how to draw them in schematics. So to teach you how to draw them in schematics, I'll use Paint. It's quite hard to do in Minecraft. For the NOT gate, if this is the input and this is the output, you first draw a triangle like this with a circle on the end. I suck at drawing, sorry. So this is a NOT gate. Whenever you see a circle, it basically means inversion. And this triangle is actually a buffer gate with a NOT gate with a circle, so a NOT gate at the end. But the buffer gate just lets the signal through and doesn't really do anything. This is useful, or you can use this in real electronics, but not in redstone. Next one is the AND. So you draw a straight line, half circle, that's it. So again, you can draw a circle, or if you want to invert it at the beginning, you can draw circles here. A OR is quite the same as the AND, but with a little bow to it. This is a really big OR. This is an OR. And lastly, XOR is the same as OR, but with an extra line. Right here. So this is an XOR. You can always write it inside if you want to for the clarifications. So now let's get back to Minecraft. Finally, how to use logic gates. Like I said in the beginning, there are a lot of implications for logic gates. One of them, and a big one, is how to add. Like we did in last time, how to add bits but then automatically, so you don't have to do it manually. Of course this won't work with one logic gate, but if you use them in a correct way and in correct order, the different kinds, you can create some really interesting circuits like an adder. Also, To store bits, like you will see next week, we also use a series of logic gates. But also for the logic of the computer and the control unit, what needs to fire when, you also need logic gates. So there are a lot of implications in it, and sometimes they're hidden while they're in the circuits where you don't really notice them, but they're still there. You will see in the course of the series that I use logic gates a lot, but so that's why they're really fundamental, and you really need to understand them. But anyway, thanks you guys for watching. Next week I will teach you how to store bits, like I already said. So if you enjoyed it, consider liking and subscribing. I'm sorry. It would really make my day. Hope you have a good day, and see you later. Bye!